Sad mood is not a depression. Sustained sad mood, which lasts more than 2 weeks, with reason or without reason, we call as depression or clinically depressed. During this period, the person feels helplessness, hopelessness, being sad, no interest in any usual activities, routine activities, day-to-day activities, his job, his studies, are difficult in focus, concentration, brooding, negative thoughts, sleep disturbance, loss of appetite. He doesn't feel like eating. There is a word called anhedonia, means inability to enjoy the usual pleasure of life. Usually because of certain environmental factors or situational factors. That's what we call as a triggers. Like, for example, during this particular season, I mean, a particular scenario of the COVID, it's difficult. We cannot go out, social isolation. You cannot socialize and sitting at home. So this is a particular scenario situation, or a death of a spouse, or death of a close family member, or a big loss in financial loss. These are the triggers of, which may induce or start depression. That's one thing. Even without any environmental or situational trigger, also depression can set in. So there are two important things. Not all the people who are exposed to a major event or a traumatic event get depressed. Only few, not all. So who are the people who get depressed? Who are the people they do not get depressed, or they have the coping mechanism? So that is where we call as the genetic, the genes, our constitution that comes for those people. And over and above that, those people who have got the trigger, so that is what we call as the epigenetics in our terminology. Genetics, superimposed environmental factors, these together, they make the individual to feel clinically depressed for prolonged time. The majority of the people, we don't entertain or acknowledge that we are depressed. There is a stigma associated or attached to that. We feel shame, or, oh, no, I'm not, I'm mentally strong. I'm not weak. So they take it granted. It's not a thing to concern. So they keep to themselves. That is the main hurdle which come in the way of how we can address. So what I advise is, the first and foremost thing, acknowledge that there is an entity called depression. There is a problem which can be addressed.
2017, when I was in a situation, in a financial situation that I didn't do. Actually, I was involved in a financial problem, and basically I kept this problem into myself, and I didn't tell anybody about it. That's the time that I was feeling sad. Every time I go home, I sigh a lot, like this, and I didn't know. I feel like I'm floating when I go home after work. I feel like I'm in a very bad situation. And then my friends in the house are telling me, what happened to you? Are you okay? Something wrong? But but they really know what's happening to me. I just didn't tell them what's happening to me. So that's the situation for on myself. And then what I did is, like, because I'm into art, so what I did is I just go to the corner of my room and just do painting, listen to music, and just be myself in that corner of the room. Yeah, actually there were times like I just feel like, oh, it's okay, it's just nothing, it's just a normal, it's just being human, that you just feel sad about a particular situation. But when I was able to attend a depression awareness campaign, a depression awareness program, that I realized that I was really into that bad situation, that that's already depression, and that could lead into something if I was not able to do something about it. I was an active member of the Filipino community as volunteer, and there is this one program with Kape at Pandesal Diary that they have this depression awareness campaign. When I was when I joined the team, the Kape at Pandesal Diary, there was one segment wherein they had me as host, or as host of that particular segment, with the psychologist, and we tackled about depression. And then I realized that, oh my, that I was really in the deep problem already. And then I realized it was already depression. And then when they talk about all the stuff about depression, and then they discuss about it, then I realized that I was able to combat it, and I was able to do something about it, like prayers, getting involved, getting myself busy, and not to indulge myself in sadness, in this long sadness, and in this particular depression that I went through. For those friends and family out there who has a family or brothers or sisters who are suffering from depression, the moment you feel that there is something wrong about them, they're doing odd about themselves, or they posting something on social media that they're not feeling well, they are in a bad situation, right there and then call their attention, talk to them. Don't put any more messages on Facebook, especially in social media. Don't put those threads of messages very long. Try to talk to them directly, because depression is something that at a snap of the finger they may end their life. And definitely, if you were able to talk to them right there and then on what their situation are, then that would be a great help for them.
It was in year 2017 when I found out that I am having that kind of a thing, you know. So I thought it was just a normal thing or a normal emotion that I was feeling until such time that I realized that it's something deeper and hard to explain. I was out of control already. I could just cry, you know, I could just feel this extreme sadness, extreme loneliness, and I could hear a lot of voices inside my mind telling me a lot of things. And those were really awful things. And like, okay, I would give you an example. It was like someone, you know, a voice was telling me to just cut my wrist, something like that, to hurt myself, or to bang my head on the wall, something like that. And then I was like, no, this is no longer, you know the feeling. There was fear, and I was like, oh my gosh, let me research on that. So as I was researching on Google, I was like, oh, so these are some of the signs, you know, symptoms of depression. So then I called a friend. At first, it was a friend who was a psychiatrist. I asked her, you know, this is how I am feeling. And then she said, oh my gosh, you're into depression. So I was denying it. I said, no, I am just lonely. I am just sad. And she said, Camila, what else are you feeling right now? Or what are the other things you have in mind right now, right at this moment? And I was like, you know, I was into deep thought, and then I came up with, you know, with the line of, I would like to end my life. And she was like, oh, no, stop it. You have to rest. You have to take a deep breath, something like that. And it was like, no, then I just cried uncontrollably. First things first, they really have to address, or they really have to identify. Okay, they really have to identify the situation or the problem, you know, and then they have to act on it. Okay, they have to address it. Then they should, you know, they should admit it, that they are into it, other than denying it, because denying will not help. It will worsen the situation. And then find the people. It's not easy when you are into it. There are a lot of symptoms, you know, when you, one of that is, this is what I called this unexplainable loneliness, unexplainable sadness. And then Also, the other thing is when petty things would get you angry, would trigger, there are things, petty things, only petty things, but it will get you riled up immediately, and you will, from human to werewolf, you will transform into a werewolf for nothing, you know what I mean? So yeah, you have to really understand the problem, okay? Address it, and then surround yourself with the people you trust, the people who would really help you battle or combat your situation, and then people who will love you for who you are, who will accept you for what you are, people who will not judge you, because you cannot just go around and tell them, oh, I am depressed, blah 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 blah. No, you cannot, because not all would understand. So you really just have to like choose the right environments. Yes. And then listen to motivational videos. But the most important thing is kneel down and pray. Because no one can ever help us, or no one will go through with us but God alone. He will never leave us nor forsake us. He will strengthen us. This is from my own experience, and based from my own experience.
So it's very important that you have this talking out behavior. So the moment you're open to talk about it, the more awareness that you may have, the easier, the better that you will be able to address depression, even if it is not yet at its peak. So it's so important that you also need to have a clear mind that there are things you cannot control and there are things you can control. So things that you can control, you basically have to attend it to yourself, like talk to individuals, talk to your loved ones, and if you may see it fit to really talk to an expert, go to mental health professionals, psychologists, psychiatrists that may be available in the process, because this is part of growing. You need to really see how you can manage yourself in the process, and disregarding, being in denial, this will not truly help. So looking into that's something that you need to consider. You also need to consider proper diet, proper exercise, because these two important factors, the nutrient part, and the diet part, and the exercise, would really create a difference. When the hormones, happiness hormones, will be triggered, the happiness hormones will be boosted all along. So eating nutritious food like yogurt, when you talk about typical fruit, strawberry, banana, these can all help you boost your happiness hormones. So food rich in omega-3 would definitely help, and food that are rich in omega-6, especially when you deep fry some food, that will not help. That will even boost your depression, if in case you're eating or taking in unhealthy diet. On the aspect of looking into the acronym GRADES, GRADES, G for getting involved. Getting involved means not just to be socially connected with your community, but to be more sensitive with the needs of the family members, with the needs of your friends. Sometimes these people who are depressed just need people to talk to, and they need a listening ear on that note. So getting involved would be one. R will be to relax. It's so important that you find time for yourself. It's part of self-compassion. So if you don't get the opportunity to have the relaxation that you deserve, self-talk is part of that, which many of us would be lacking nowadays. We don't have the opportunity to really have some self-talk, to make it just too loud when you do this, when you thought you're alone. But one way over the other, it's so important to build relationship internal to ourselves. There is such thing as intrapersonal relationship. That's the R. A for affective, be more sensitive with the needs of other people, and to your needs as well, you know. So that's the A. D for doing creative activities and or diet. You know, those small tips that I have given earlier on, it's part of educating yourself that far beyond what you know, that those nutritious food just confounded with the leafy vegetables would not be enough, you know. Even a simple belief that a pepper can also boost your mood and happiness would enable you to change your mood over time, would help, you know. So that's part of the D in there. E for exercise. You know, you may not basically have the awareness that it really is something that would boost your energy and your system, not just to really cope with the demands of the current time, but you know, to have the happiness hormones that you need to survive in this trying time, and not just to survive but to thrive, you know, in this trying time. That's the E. And S there is sleep. You know, normally depressed individuals have patterns of problems. Problems with sleep. So if that's a silent pandemic, even before this pandemic came, so you have a lot of impaired decision making, and you have more impaired patterns of thinking. That means you may not think really as accurate as you may have once you don't really get the proper sleep. So that's the GRADES formula that I can share to all of you.